Hello, Astro here, and today I'm going to be showing you a pretty decent Cypher setup for Ascent. Now, a lot of Cypher setups are probably going to be pretty good, but it's best for you to figure out which one suits your playstyle the best. But I know that this one will pretty much work for any person who's playing this game and wants to maybe use a Cypher on Ascent and wants to have a decent setup that's going to get him pretty far. So what you're going to do is you are going to place your trip right here. Now what that does is if anyone tags it, you're pretty much golden, because either they retreat back over here
Ici.
and if you have someone maybe
Ici.
in market or
Ici.
CT, then they're pretty much stuck
Ici.
in this area with you holding it on site. You can put it further down, maybe over here. And what that will do is it'll make it a wall bangable area for whoever is there. It really doesn't matter where it is. I prefer to put it closer to the edge. And to pair with it, I normally put down a cage right there. So if they trigger it, I can just pull up the cage, and it's pretty much, I can see them, they can't see me. Another thing I like to do for this site in particular is put down my wire here, because if anyone, let's say our team loses mid control and everyone on their team can push up through here, well then they can't see this at all, and if they get anywhere close to it, they'll have to actually peek out the door to even hit it. The only chance they have is if they jump, and if they jump, I'll know they're here anyways. I also like to
Cage déclenché.
I did that. I also like to put my cage up here, because if they do get hit by it, I have
Cage déclenché.
shot from
À mon
stairs.
signal.
And the last thing with the specific setup is I either place my cam up here, which you can do by jumping from here,
Ici.
or I get early round info, which is always a good idea, and I do a jumping cam into the tunnel, into boat, because that's a smart play. If they destroy it, you know they're there, and if they don't destroy it, you can have it for B-side rotate to check if they are in there or not. However, it doesn't catch in the corner, so
Ici.
you pretty much are always going to be blindsided by a person here.
Ici.
Side B is pretty hard, simply because there's a lot of places where people can come from. They can come from
Ici.
here, they can come from here,
Ici.
and you're gonna have to figure out a way to guard all of them. And it seems like it might be easy. Most characters are gonna be able to get by these, maybe like an Omen or a Jet. They'll usually get by this. So you're gonna have to figure out a setup that's probably gonna work for majority. Now, in the games that I've played, majority of people are gonna go through
Ici.
mid. People that go through spawn
Ici.
normally get there late round, so you will not have to worry about it. When it comes to a mid, I like to put it right here, because it's almost impossible to hit it unless you peek it. And if it's not wall bangable, you have to see it. The only way you see it is if you go into its way. The second trip I normally do is over here, and this is because it will get people that are coming from both here and here. So let's say that trip fails somehow, you're gonna have to either second TP past the trip, which will most likely alert people in sight because it's close enough, or you're just gonna have to brave the trip. All the abilities that allow you to get by this thing are loud enough that the people in sight will hear them. So you're pretty much either taking the bullet, or you're gonna use your ability to get by. There are really no cages for this area, but I also like putting my camera up here, because let's say your team loses the site, you take back all your stuff, get out. This will always be checking out the flank. So it's not a bad idea to maybe keep your camera here, or maybe on the rounds that you're setting up for A, keep your camera on this area, because you never know, there's a lot of flanking that happens on Ascent. Now, I'm going to have to say that my game crashed on me. My game crashed on me in the middle of doing this. I'm kind of frustrated. I don't want to have to redo
Mon ultime est prêt.
what I just did. I guess having Ghost helps. Oh shoot, I forgot the buy phase it hasn't happened yet. Wait, did I just break the game? Oh shoot, what is this? What is this invisible barrier that stops me from going? Now regarding A site, it's pretty simple. Unlike B site, you're pretty much only gonna have to deal with one area, because even though people are gonna be coming from here, these two spots, you're gonna have one place where they're gonna combine. So you either take advantage of the fact that they both have to come through the same spot, or you could separate them off and deal with them both. Now, separating them off is probably worse, but I'll show you both ways. You could set it up like this, just your everyday run-of-the-mill cyber trips. Always aim them at your head when you crouch, because that means that they cannot jump over them, and it's pretty easy. Anyone can put down cat, mid, they'll either have to ability pass them, as well as over here. But the problem with this is that they catch someone, but you're using two trips to stop something that you could easily do with one. So what I say is you put one maybe right, oops, that was my bad. Put one right here. What this does is you're not going to be able to jump from over here. You're going to get hit, you're going to get caught by it. It might look like I jumped over it, but with testing, it's shown that you can't jump over this. The only characters that can get over this from that box are Jet and Raze. But that requires, well, for Jet, it doesn't require ability usage, but it makes a lot of noise. Now, what else can you do here? Well, I like to set up a one-way. Forget I did that. Okay, now for the lineup. What you're gonna do to line this up is you are going to go to this edge right here and walk downwards up until you hit the wall. You should be on right here, right? So if you have, let's say you have a normal knife, when you hit that for a right click and a left click, they should both be aligned with right there. And then you aim there, and it's pixel perfect. For those who don't know, you aim right here. Let me get it off. The spot where you aim is directly from here to here, and it would always land in that spot. Now, the reason I say set up this one way is, let's say you get sight, right? Throw the angles, you get control, pulse off door, bombs planted. You have this one way, and just sit from down here. It's really slight, but you can see their legs.
Gage déclenché.
So you can see them before they see you, and it might not be that much of an advantage, but I use it.
Gage déclenché.
And they're not going to be accepting it. It looks like just a straight up cage down, but that small amount you can see is worth a lot more than you think. Now, other things you can probably do with this is you could have the cage down that discloses a tripwire. Let's say they peek it, you put the cage down, the tripwire's right here. If they hug this side, it's pretty smart. People are probably gonna hug red side. and because of that, they're gonna hit that. They're gonna see that. Now, this trip is not in any way meant to be undodgeable. They're gonna see it, and I know that they're gonna see it. But when they're occupied shooting it, you can peek. So let's say get shot, boom, peek. It's perfect. It's perfect. Another thing you can do is instead of having a trip there, you can have your trip here. Oh shoot, no, that's my bad. Sorry. You can have your trip here. Now there's two spots I like putting my trips. Here. And here. Because they're pretty smart. You push from here. You're pretty much getting hit by it unless you happen to be the guy who holds the corner, holds the wall, but you're probably not going to be because it exposes you to here. You probably don't want to be seen by that. So you're going to run down middle, get hit. In most scenarios, people do get hit by it. Some people stay a little close enough to hear the noise and don't get hit by it. Another thing you can do is have one right here where the bomb would be. And then have a cage right on top of Jen. I hate getting cages on top of Jen because I always do that. That should work.
Cage déclenché.
And they're pretty much half in. They'll be diffusing. They'll make the noise. You can peek them. As for Heaven, this is probably the last trip that you'll ever need. You're not going to use it a lot. You could put down a Heaven. Like, Heaven is pretty hard to get trips down on because the Heaven wall, it's very curved. And you might not see it, it may look flat, but it's curved in every way. So everywhere on the wall is going to go somewhere different. It's really inconsistent, and I suggest you do not do anything to Heaven because getting off of Heaven is the hardest part. So it's hard enough to the point where you don't need to worry about it. Now for cameras, any logical camera works. Sometimes you can put a cam here so you don't have to peek. You could see if someone's planting. Sometimes you could frame drops. Sometimes you could take that back. You can put it here. Watch your flank. You could put it pretty much everywhere it works. Sometimes you could even have it back over at B like I showed you earlier. It all works. It's be a replica, except twisted in its own ways. Sometimes I decide, you know what, I'm gonna just do these. I normally do one of these three trips. Now, they seem pretty stupid, but a lot of people overlook this, right? Because you're not walking when you're going to go plant. You're running to the spot. So you're not going to be thinking second or third times about, oh, if there's a trip there. If they get hit by the trip, it slows them down. It's not going to stop the plant process. It's not going to stop anything. But it slows them down. It gives the team time to rotate. Other things I like to do, you could get off here. It watches tree. You don't need a person tree now. Now, they still can get by, which is why I suggest you probably have your cam on tree. Because this is effectively canceling out the flanks from here. So the only place you'll have to worry about is pretty much mid and B side, which should be taken care of. And pretty much that's it. You could do that, which is something I learned. You align yourself with the edge of the box, aim at like where the bottom of your crosshairs at the cable, and it should land there every time. Your crosshair should be like in between the middle of those two.
Cage déclenché.
The reason I didn't do this before is because it exposes yourself to too much of Heaven, so you're probably not gonna be able to perfectly line this up quickly unless you like get super fast. So like, I'm not that quick with it, but it took me 2 tries to get it. You have to be really quick with this if you want to have this really consistent. Another one you can do is if you aim it right there, it's gonna get dead center of Heaven. Dead center, as in like it's gonna be right in their way. They can't do anything to dodge it. Now, it's not that useful,
Cage déclenchée.
It blocks pretty much the entire area so that they can't hide behind in the back and peek out. They're gonna have to push out. Okay, mid is pretty much a beast because it's where the ops and the full mid rushes live. Mid is pretty notorious for helping people get to B, or if they want to destruct your entire CT setups, they can get here pretty easily. So you're gonna have to find a way to deal with it.
Cage
Now,
déclenchée.
this is what I like to look for. Like anything, just throw it out there. You
Cage
can get that.
déclenchée.
That's easy. But this is hard to do without peeking it yourself. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna sit by the sandbags right back here. Like make sure that your thing hits like the middle of that shoe. You're gonna want to align yourself with here. Move up until it aligns with the middle of this house. And once you've done that, you're gonna aim at the middle of the house, right above it, where up until the point where that window is, and jumping throw. And that will get you right there. Make sure the jumping throws are gonna have that. The game is not like Valve's game, so it doesn't have keybinds, so you're gonna have to time it. It has to be either after the jump or a second into the jump to work. Anything like this, anything that goes too early is not going to work. Anything that goes too late is not going to work. So this is what happens if you're too early. This is what happens if you're too late. Essentially what's going on is you're hitting right around here and it's hitting it onto the ledge. So if you go too early, instead of hitting this right here where this dent is, you're hitting above it, and that's knocking it down here. And if you go too late, it's knocking it over here because you're hitting it one of the other moves. That's why this is pretty hard to do, because you have to find that perfect spot. Now, in terms of I left my camera there. I'm gonna have to cut to grab it. That one is pretty smart because you can see them, they can't see you. It's pretty useful if you're gonna sit over here. I normally set up 2 cages up there. Now, you're gonna just want to have a way to deal with normal mid. Now, if this is just a round, I suggest you buy Classic because then you can set up this relatively easily. You do that trip, head all the way back through CT, and do this trip. Now, these trips are relatively low, but there's a reason for it. Now, if you're pushing up cat, you don't have the time to deal with this. You're gonna jump it, or you're just gonna take it, right? A lot of people are trained to see trips right here, so low trips can get people sometimes. So if you jump it, okay, good for you. You made a ton of noise. If you look on my radar, that alerts anyone in mid and anyone in sight entry. That's pretty bad for you as an attacker. If you're a defender, that's pretty golden. Now, if you're here, looking down here is a death sentence because you have the entirety of both, and here and here, plus here to deal with, and here. You can't look down just to destroy one little trip. You're gonna run through it, forget that it's there, jump it, and reset all your aim. Because look, let's say this guy right here, and I try and jump it. I have a solid chunk of time before my gun's steady. Thing to know that when your gun is steady, you can shoot. Meaning, if my gun's not steady, any point my gun's not steady, it's not accurate. Any point my gun is steady, it's accurate. Now it's hard to look at, but you see the first shot was over there. It took until my gun was in the normal position for the bullets to land in that area. So you're giving yourself up for a solid second until you get through the door. Not to forget that there could be people here. They're all gonna know. So this is just a solid trip to do. People can still get into mid. So if you really want the extra protection, you could set up this one, which I like a lot because it stops people from, peeking up here. Just been a pretty good spot to peek from.
Gage
It just
déclenché.
stops them. They can't do much about it. And it separates mid into two spots. The people that get stuck on this side and alert you, and the people that are just down here. Makes the angle a little bit tighter. Not a hard thing to do. As I fail it, I say that. You just gotta get angles
Gage
correct.
déclenché.
Now, it does kind of help them a bit, but you're forgetting that they can't go through here without making more noise. The last thing you're gonna have to deal with is people that sit in mid. Now, mid is relatively not dangerous for you if you're on CT. And the only reason you'd ever need a cam on mid is if, let's say, you just wanna have the ability to make sure no one's coming from here. Because if you have solid help on both B and A, you're not gonna have to deal with it. You're gonna have to deal with mid. And you don't want your mid to be vulnerable, so you're gonna have to figure out ways to keep it safe. A cam is a good way, but it's also one of the easiest to find. A good cam for it is by jumping on this box and hitting the wall. You can hit it on these leaf plants, and what it will do is it will start looking at this direction, but that means that it's pretty hard to notice unless you're actively looking at it. You can see down there, you can't peek onto cat side, but you can peek the entirety of over here. And that's the only downfall about the cam. Pretty much anywhere on this wall works, and then jumping should get you more coverage. Like that. This wall is, you can also do. I can just get it right this time. It gets you here, people that are
Gage déclenché.
here, and you can get these guys. But again, you can't get anyone who's far on cat. And pretty much, it might be higher up and stuff, but it blocks more of your vision. Because unlike the one over here, you can't see through arch. Like here, you can see pretty much a lot of arch, right? But on that one on this side, that's not as easy because arch is like, pick your fights. Do you want to have full up there, but not see here and here? Then I say you pick this side. But if you want to be able to see the entirety of this side, then pick that side. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing that you might want to do as a Cypher is get kills. I mean, a lot of people get mad at Cyphers and Killjoys and Sages for not getting kills. I like to put it this way. If these guys take the time to learn their own character, I don't think you should be telling them how to do that.